Introduction. The quest for inner peace. Imagine a life where, no matter the circumstances around you, your peace is unwavering. Picture being untouched by insults, untouched by the chaotic world, and still maintaining a state of inner calm. Such a life isn't a distant dream. It is a reality that is within your grasp, and the path to it is simpler than we often think. It begins with understanding a fundamental truth. Peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. As Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. This profound teaching invites us to look inward, to realize that peace is not a fleeting external state, but a steady internal condition we can nurture through practice, mindfulness, and deep understanding. Today, we explore how we can cultivate an unshakable peace that transcends life's challenges. The principles we will delve into come from ancient Buddhist wisdom, practical for the everyday person in today's world. Chapter 1. Letting Go. The Path to Emotional Freedom. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to be overwhelmed by insults, disappointments, and daily stresses. Someone may insult us, and we might feel the sting long after the incident is over. However, Buddhism teaches that holding on to these negative emotions only prolongs the suffering. Imagine a stone being dropped into a pond. The splash is immediate, but it's only temporary. The ripples eventually fade, and the water returns to its natural stillness. When we let go of the hurt caused by others, we allow our emotional turmoil to settle, just like the pond. Buddha taught holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Holding on to anger and resentment harms no one but ourselves. We allow ourselves to be stuck in a cycle of negativity, but by letting go, we free ourselves from that cycle. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain. It means acknowledging the hurt and choosing not to let it control our thoughts or actions. A famous Buddhist story recounts a monk who was insulted by a passerby. Rather than reacting, the monk smiled and continued on his way. When asked how he could remain so calm, the monk explained, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The same applies to insults. If we do not accept them, they cannot disturb us." Chapter 2. Everyone is a teacher. Learning from every experience. In our interactions with others, every moment can be seen as an opportunity for growth. Whether someone is kind or rude, each interaction teaches us something valuable. A Buddhist saying goes, "When the student is ready, the teacher will appear." In our lives, the teacher may not always be a wise old sage. Sometimes it's the difficult people or the challenging situations that provide us with the greatest lessons. When someone acts rudely or dismissively, it is a perfect opportunity to practice patience. Buddha taught that patience is a true virtue, one that allows us to respond with wisdom, not reactivity. A story from the ancient scriptures tells of a young monk who, while traveling, encountered a person who insulted him. Instead of retaliating, the monk remained silent, showing no reaction. When asked why, he replied, "It takes no effort to remain calm, but it takes great effort to return anger for anger." We can also reflect on how many times we have been misunderstood or judged by others. By seeing everyone as a teacher, we can respond with compassion, recognizing that their actions are often born out of their own struggles. This shift in perspective can turn even the most difficult interactions into valuable learning experiences. enhancing our emotional resilience and inner peace. Chapter 3: Transforming Envy into Emulation, Turning Jealousy into Inspiration. Envy is a natural human emotion. We've all felt it at some point in our lives, envying someone's success, appearance, or abilities. In Buddhism, however, envy is seen as a state of attachment to things that we believe will bring us happiness, but which, in reality, only distract us from true peace. Rather than allowing envy to consume us, Buddhism teaches us to transform it into emulation. Instead of resenting others for their successes, we are encouraged to look at them as role models. When you see someone who is successful, rather than feeling resentment, ask yourself, what can I learn from them? How can I incorporate their strengths into my own growth? This teaching is beautifully illustrated in a Buddhist parable. A farmer once looked at his neighbor's flourishing crops and felt a pang of jealousy. However, rather than allowing it to diminish his peace, he decided to learn from his neighbor's methods. His envy was transformed into an inspiration that led him to improve his own farming techniques. Over time, his crops began to flourish as well, and he no longer envied his neighbor. Emulating the qualities we admire in others can help us evolve and develop inner strength. Rather than focusing on how others are more skilled or successful, we focus on what we can learn from them, turning envy into a tool for self improvement. Chapter 4: Be strict with yourself, but tolerant of others. Buddhism teaches us to hold ourselves to high standards, but also to be compassionate toward others. We are all on a unique journey, and just as we struggle with our own challenges, others are facing their own difficulties. By being strict with ourselves, we commit to self discipline, focusing on our goals, and constantly striving to be better. However, we must also be patient and understanding toward others, recognizing that they are not on the same path or at the same pace as we are. A story from the life of the Buddha illustrates this concept. When his disciples struggled to meet his high expectations, Buddha would often remind them, just as a flower does not pick and choose the bees that come to it, so too should you be open to all experiences and people without judgment. This principle is vital in fostering peace, as it allows us to grow without rigidly imposing our expectations on others. When we learn to tolerate imperfections in others, we create a more harmonious environment, both for ourselves and for those around us. Chapter 5: No one can hurt you without your consent. In Buddhism, it is taught that no external force has the power to harm us unless we allow it. If someone criticizes us, insults us, or acts unkindly, it is within our power to decide how to react. Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." If we let others' words or actions control our emotions, we are giving them power over us. An ancient Buddhist story tells of a king who was deeply offended by the actions of his subjects. He consulted a wise monk who told him, "No one can harm you unless you permit it. Your peace lies within you. Protect it, and no external force can disturb you." The king realized that it was his own emotional response that had allowed the offenses to affect him. By practicing mindfulness and emotional resilience, we can choose how we respond to external events. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, reflect, and then respond from a place of inner peace rather than from a place of emotional turmoil. Chapter 6: The Power of Acceptance. The final principle we explore is acceptance. In our fast paced, goal driven world, it is easy to become frustrated when things do not go according to plan. However, Buddhism teaches that the key to peace lies in accepting things as they are rather than resisting them. Acceptance is not about passivity or indifference. It is about engaging with the present moment without judgment. A powerful Buddhist metaphor illustrates this. A river does not struggle against rocks or obstacles in its path. It simply flows around them, adapting to the environment. In the same way, when we accept life's challenges, we stop fighting against them and instead flow with them, learning and growing along the way. Acceptance also involves letting go of the need to control outcomes. We must acknowledge that there are many things beyond our control, and by accepting this, we reduce our frustration and suffering. When we embrace the present moment as it is, we free ourselves from unnecessary tension and create space for peace and clarity. Conclusion: the unshakable mindset. By incorporating these 6 Buddhist principles into our daily lives, we begin to build an unshakable mindset, one that remains rooted in peace, regardless of what happens around us. These principles teach us to let go of anger, view others as teachers, transform envy into motivation, practice discipline while embracing tolerance, and accept life's challenges with grace. As we continue to practice these teachings, we deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world, growing stronger and more resilient in the process. Through time and effort, we can cultivate a peaceful mind that is not swayed by the storms of life. We are the creators of our own peace,